Why hello and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings. I'm your host and guide, Zollin Ironshield, and today we're gonna do a 101 for Dummies guide playlist, my friends, on the quest log. So everything to do with this, okay? So this is my most basic playlist on guides, okay? I'm gonna break this thing down for you, and I will explain it in as fine detail as I can, okay? And if you're brand new to a game of this LOTRO or MMO in general, or you just need a refresher on the whole system and what all these buttons mean on this tab, I'm going to explain that all for you right now in the next little while here, and we're going to go through it. I will try to do it quickly, precisely, and in a way that will be able to you guys can keep up with, all right? I'm not going to be careful not to use acronyms that you might not understand or things like that. I'm going to go really like you're brand new to the game, okay? That is the point of this playlist. That's why the joke is the name is 101 for Dummies, right? But no one's dumb, but you get the point. It's like the book series. All right, so let's start right off the back here. It's a beautiful spot I picked here to stand next to the ocean, but where do we find the quest log? What is the quest log even used for? We got to start right from the beginning or you'll be really confused. So, in Lord of the Rings Online, it is an MMO, which stands for a massive multiplayer online, okay? And it's a game, right? We all know that. You probably know that if you're playing it and you're watching this video. But the big thing that you need to do in the game is questing. What is the reason for questing? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One is it's fun. It's the storyline, right? I'm going to actually move something up here on the screen. I forgot real quick. It's the storyline, that kind of stuff. But in a game like Lord of the Rings Online, it's more of a classic MMO, a classic one, okay? Which means you have to quest to get experience. Experience levels you up, all right? There's a max level in the game. When expansions or new additions to the game come out, your level can increase over time. Usually the best way to do that is to quest. Now, we're not going to do a whole video on that in detail, but the thing you have to realize is questing is important because it progresses you through the game, okay? That bar down there for Lord of the Rings Online, for our sake, is the quest XP bar, all right? Or XP bar. Whatever form of stuff you get goes towards this bar down here that has the orange and blue down there, and I have a whole different video on that if you want to know. We'll go into that, but that's a separate subject. But as you quest, you'll get experience that goes towards that bar. At a certain point, you will get to max level, which is that number right under your little portrait up there in the top left, okay? So that's the background stuff. So questing. So where do you get quests? Where do you even accept quests? This is also important before we even open the quest log, okay? Usually on the little, it's called the radar up there in the corner, okay? Or you can click M for map. And usually they will be on this little show quest guides, and it will show you where you can go once you have them. But when you're walking around the world, you have to look for people called NPCs. NPC stands for non-player character, which means it's not like me sitting behind my character walking around. They're characters that just sit on the field all the time and are just always there, okay? They're part of the world, the atmosphere, okay? They live in Middle-earth in the game. They're not real, there's not a person running it, it's just a random computer. So when you go around Middle-earth, you'll see these characters like, we're going to use a Wendy here as an example. She has a quest ring over her head. In Lord of the Rings Online, to find quests, you have to look for these gold rings, okay? This is very important to know ahead before we even open the quest log. You're going to right-click them with your mouse, okay? In the future, if this is on a console, I'm sure it would be one of the buttons on the glare. But you right-click usually with the mouse.
Would you do something for me?
And it brings up this little thing, okay? You have a little, accept and decline. You can read it, and there's rewards and objectives. Now, I wasn't doing a whole video on quests, but it's important for me to just give you a little refresher if you're brand new so you're not confused. You can click this little plus and minus to actually make the text bigger if you need it to be. And there's a whole little story here, and my voiceover series on this channel, my entertainment, is me usually reading these and doing voiceovers, all right? But basically, it'll tell you what you need, and you can accept or decline it. You're going to want to accept it, okay? But it also says the objective and what you earn. So the reward will be under rewards. It'll say what you need to do and the objective, okay? So I'm going to click accept. You notice it popped up right there. It says you have a new quest, VIP rewards, all right? So now normally you'd go around and you do whatever the objective is. I will have a separate video on that. You can go check it out. But you go and do the objective, all right? But it will be important. It won't be a total separate video. I take that back because we're going to be talking about the quest log. So that's the whole point of this video. I don't know why I said that. All right, moving on. We're not even going to cut it. We're just going to keep going. If you open up your quest log, all right, you can either click that ring down there in the bottom left. I'm also going to have to turn down the beautiful background music because it's getting louder and louder. There we go. Or you can press L for log, all right? It's quest log. Or you can go this little arrow down here in the bottom left, and it's a little pull up, right? Or I usually just like to click this little ring right here in the bottom left, down there. See it? My mouse is hovering. And now we have the quest log. So now that you have a little background, we're going to explain all this right now, all right? And all the details on it. So, and again, I love that music, but I feel like it's just going to distract us. So we'll just leave the background sounds on. So now we are going to talk about the quest log in detail. Now, one thing that's also important is the quest tracker. That is anything here on the right side of the screen. You usually see it, and it will show like my newly accepted quest right there called VIP rewards, right? That's the quest we just accepted. So there's a few ways we could find VIP rewards. We could find it within this quest tracker, or you can always click the little ring. See that little ring that's right next to the right of the quest? You click that little ring, it'll actually open up the quest log to the exact quest, okay? So that's a first little trick. I'd love everyone to know that, okay? So now that you've opened up your quest log and you can see it, again, the same information is here again. In case you missed it, you accepted the quest, you didn't want to read the whole quest, because let's be real. Most of us are like, yeah, accept, whoop, off we go, let's go quest, right? No one really sits there and reads all of them usually if you're trying to level quickly, yeah? Trying to get lots of experience fast. All right, so you talk to Wendy. It says speak with Wendy to accept her kind offer. So usually this quest is very simple. Basically, I accept it, and I just have to accept the reward from her, basically like turning it back in. Normally, it would say something like, for example, let's bring up a random quest. You know, deliver word to King Elisar, you know, and it'll explain how to do that. Or a more simple one could be something like, you know, defeat this guy, Gringon. And then you come back and you hear your rewards, and then once you completed it, it'll say go talk to blah blah, turn it in, okay? So once you've done your completion of the quest, again, I'll have a whole video on like going through the details of like how to, you know, maybe complete quests. We're talking about the log, okay, mainly. So this is how you find things and find the quests. So then once you basically know, oh, well, it's completed, I have to go back and talk to Wendy, right? And again, you can see the little check mark. See that check mark right there? Usually the check mark most of the time means you need to go talk to someone and turn it in. Okay? Usually. There's some exceptions to that rule, but you can be pretty confident 90% of the time, 95% of the time, that the little check mark there on the side of the quest, you see where my mouse is right there above my head? Then that quest is ready to be turned in. So then, if you go to the character they tell you to go back to, oh look, here she is. And if you notice, now the ring doesn't look like just a solid ring, it's like a glowing ring. It's like when Frodo, you know, puts it in the fire, or Gandalf, right, in the movie, that it glows. That means it's ready to be turned in. They want to be talked to, the NPC. So, the non-player character. I'm going to right-click her.
How can I be of service?
And as you can see, we have only two options there. Finish now, finish later. Occasionally you'll want to finish later for some reason. You want to hold on to it because you want to earn the XP later and put a little XP booster on or something. It's very rare that you'd say finish later, okay? Usually you always have to finish now because a lot of times with some quests, there will be a thing called a quest chain. And what that means is when you complete one quest for that NPC, they will then give you a new quest that you could only get if you completed the previous quest, okay? Hope everyone's following at this point. Again, don't forget to throw a like and subscribe on there if this does help you out. This is like really the basics. I know, but that's the point of this playlist. That's why I'm making this. I have an advanced guide playlist if you need that. If you're someone that needs a little bit more advanced stuff in the game. So here you go, Traveler, she says. You should pass with another day. It's going to give me these two items. I'm going to say finish. All right? Boom, done. And I actually got some XP. And that particular quest, I don't believe, actually gives XP because it's a special VIP extra thing. But usually you see a little blue XP bar go bloop, little XP go over your head, and you'd be set, right, as you're going through Middle-earth. And I got some items. I can go in my thing, and I can see, oh, look, there's the two items she gave me, right? It's in my items, which is usually under I. So now that we've kind of done a little intro of, like, how you accept a quest, you do some stuff, how you can find it with the tracker by clicking the ring directly brings you to that quest in the quest log, all that kind of stuff. That's some real basic stuff. I didn't want to jump straight into the quest log because I feel like you guys are going to be like totally lost if you're brand new. So now that you kind of understand that, that's the simple stuff. We'll have another video on maybe completing and doing quests in the future, but let's go through the quest log now. and what all these buttons mean. I cannot blow up this quest log much bigger than it is. There is something, and the first thing I want to show you is the very bottom left of the quest log. There's that little A, double A again. If you click up on that, it will enlarge the words on all your quests, which I personally like because I play on a really big 2K screen, so it's really nice for me. If you're on a 1080, you probably wouldn't need to do that, 1080 monitor, but I play on 2K, so I have to kind of upscale the words to my size that I need to see. So now, so that's what that button does. But let's now make sure we explain what all these buttons are. We're going to go from the top left and kind of go over, okay, on the top of the quest log. So the first thing we got are these little double plus, double minus buttons, okay? What these are is all of these are categories of quests in regions and areas. And everyone's like, what does that mean? Okay, it's a world, right? These are different countries, settlements, regions that my quest is from or for, okay? There are some things that I've explained in other guide videos of like what epic quests are versus regular quests versus a chapter quest. That's not important right now for this video. I want to explain to you how all these buttons work, okay? So whatever quest you have, you'll have a couple accepted if you're brand new in Archit or Erdluin, and you will have quests from those areas. You'll see that. But basically you have plus and minus. If you click the minus, will shrink them all to their areas. If you click the plus, it'll automatically open all the quests. You can left click on this bar with your mouse and drag. And you can kind of go down and see all the quests you have. You will not have this many quests if you're a brand new player and you've only picked up like 3 or 4. It'll be really simple. You only have a couple. So don't worry, you won't be overwhelmed like this yet. I do recommend if it does say epic, prologue, chapter in the title of the quest. All right, let me close them again. See, you can see a couple of them right here. Epic Volume 1, prologue, epic. Always keep those. Never get rid of them because they're important storylines. So your character will always want to probably do them in the future. So the next thing I will have is a little search eye, right? A little search thing. You could actually click here and type. So let's say I'm looking for my quests that are in Swanfleet. Oh, look at that. And usually, oh, you know what? And without confusing you, it's actually looking for the title of the actual quest. So for example, if I say spring, like this one here, so this is how you search the title of the quest. Okay, so let's not confuse you on one thing. This search engine is not going to find these categories, okay? It's only going to find the title of the quest. So the reason you'd ever really use that search engine is if, I will link in the description, you needed help with a certain quest to find or something. You can use what's called the LOTRO wiki. It's like Wikipedia, but people have set it up and they've done a fantastic job. And I have a whole video on how you can find things in Middle-earth with that. You can find the title of a quest and then search the title here if you're trying to find in all your quests. That's what the little search thing's for. So it's pretty simple, self-explanatory with that. But next thing, show completed. This little checkbox, you do not need to check that. That's if you want to go back and see what you've already done. It'll basically, all the things that you need to do will disappear temporarily, and it'll show you everything you've ever completed on that character. So you don't need to do that especially if you're a brand new player. But in the future, you might need to want to go back and see what you did, how many quests you did. Like, for example, I know some of you were going to ask, this thing right above all the names, it says showing 63 of 63 active quests. Now, watch what happens when I click the show completed. It's going to probably freeze for a second while it tries to... Let's see if I can actually click it. There we go. Loading. So this is my main character, so he's done a lot of quests. So now it says showing 5,760 out of 5,760 completed quests. And you can see this is every quest I've ever completed. And again, if you're someone who just started in Archit, if I look for, Breland, you can see there's a bunch of quests in this area that I've already completed on this character over time. Okay, and you can go back and read the information and stuff. That's kind of... And then if that ever happens, just uncheck it, and it should all pop back normal. If you notice when it was checked, everything was grayed out above it, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. All right? So now at the top here, we have filters. These filters, I'm going to explain what they all do, but whether you click them off or on, you'll notice the amount of quests are changing, okay? And I'm actually going to open them, but you could notice when I click these off and on these filters, things are changing as I turn them off and on. And you notice if they're lit up, means they're showing being shown that type of filter, and if they're gray, that means you're hiding them, okay? So now let me explain what they all do. The one on the far left here, you can actually always hover them. It'll say, show all solo quests, okay? So if I grayed out every other quest here, except for the first one, it's only going to show quests that are designed for a solo, by myself play. That's what it means by solo. Everyone knows what solo means, right? All by yourself. You don't need a group to help you do the quest. You can go do it by yourself, okay? That's the first thing, all right, that you need to know. So that's what that filter does. Now, if we add the next filter, it shows show all small fellowship quests. So if I actually turn off this one, there should be 0 quests, right? So they're all off. That means it's not showing any kind of quest. So now let me show only small fellowship quests. I only have one, and it's Ashen Stars, and it's actually for a 3-man instance, okay? Before you get confused, 3-man being a 3-man group, so you 3 real players, you including 2 other people, right? And instances in this game are a type of specialized battle that you go into with friends, and it's like something usually lasts about 30 minutes-ish, all right? They're kind of like dungeons if you played any other games like that too. But again, if you're brand new, you might not even know what that means. So they're specialized quests where they're like, go into this place and do this objective. You usually need friends, okay? Then the next filter we have here is show all fellowship quests. Now, when you're confused, immediately going to get confused and be like, what's the difference between a small fellowship quest and a fellowship quest? Well, small fellowship is considered a half size, okay? Meaning in this game, Lord of the Rings Online, a full fellowship, it's going to confuse you compared to the movies, is 6, okay? It's 6 players. I know some people are like, wait, shouldn't it be 9 like the movies? It's just how they decided to do it, okay? So don't worry about it. So single is 1, 3 is a half fellowship, and then the regular fellowship quests are for 6-man. So if I hover this, I actually have no active quests that are for a 6-man instance, right? And again, instance is like a dungeon, a place to go, where you have to go with 5 other players to get that quest done. I have none for that right now on this character. So no big deal. The next one, but that's what you do if you want to search for that. The next one is show all instance quests. So if I hover this one, you can actually see I don't really have any instance quest yet. So that 3-man one, it's there because it's a 3-man, but I didn't have any special, it's not filtered under the instance one. Then if we go to the next one, we have show all epic quests. Now, this is really important. This is going to be a very handy filter for you if you're a brand new player and you would like to continue the story, because something I always tell all of my players, our subscribers I should say, that are joining us, or by players that are in my kinship, we're on CrickHollow if you ever want to join us, the server. And to explain that real quick, there are different dimensional worlds in MMOs, meaning when you first log in and put your passcode in, it's going to ask you what world you want to be on. We're on CrickHollow, just so explain that. So now the show epic quests are really important because they kind of guide you through the world, and they have a lot of the cool stories, and you'll meet characters that you'll know, like Frodo and Gandalf and all of those cool characters, right? Glorfindel, yes, he's in Middle-earth. Tom Bombadil, okay? So this is where you'll find kind of your epic quests. Very handy filter. The next one is called show raids. I do have some quests that are for raids. A raid is 24 players, okay? So it's technically 4 groups of 6, all right? That's a raid. Basically, those are all real players. So these quests are considered to be made up for 24 players. So usually a lot of those players will have the same quest, and you'll all go in and do it together, okay? You all get it done together. So that's basically what raid filter does. The next one is called show repeatable quests. These are quests that, well, it's kind of, you know, repeatable. Usually they're quests that give you a special resource or a respect. We're not going to go into that because this video is going to get way too long if I start trying to... I'm trying to not... I don't want to dig into other subjects too much. Just enough where you understand. We're focusing mainly on the quest log, okay? I will have other videos on repeatable quests. In fact, I probably already have one on my other regular called just the basics playlist, okay? So the next one is show shared with 1 or more members of your fellowship. This is a very cool filter. It's going to show me nothing right now, but if I was in a fellowship with other people and they had the same quest as me, and I turn this on, it'll show me this person has the same quest as me. It'll show a couple, which is really cool if you're questing with a friend, or with someone you just met in the game and you're just kind of hanging out and having fun with a brand new person you've met and you're trying to figure out what quests you have the same, it's a little bit nicer than maybe like typing back and forth, right, if you're not on voice or something. But again, most people use voice now, and there's a voice system in game as well, but it's still a handy little filter. The last one is show tasks. I don't have any tasks right now. They're a special type of quest. They basically are collect items. Okay, that's pretty much what they are. You'll collect the items for them just by killing things, even without the quest. Most of the time with a quest, you have to have the quest in your log to actually like finish progression on it. Tasks, you always get the items off people, so you can actually just go to a task board, accept it. If you have the items on you, you can just turn it immediately. Kind of like I did with her just now, even though technically that wasn't a task, but similar. I just kind of boop, boop, turned it right back in. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn all the filters back on. So now that we've explained that, so that whole left side, the filters, you now have that explained. So now we're going to talk about, there's a thing called active quests here at the top. You can only have a certain number of quests in your quest log at all. So if you're trying to accept a quest and you're like, why is it telling me my quest log is full? Or something, a little error message or something pops up. That's because your active quest is filled. You can only have so many. Now, here on my character, I have 63 out of 75. It says there at the top. If I hover it, you can hover it too. It'll give you a little explanation of what you have here. I have a bonus 5 spots for being a VIP. I have an extra 10 because I purchased it with Mithril. I had an extra 10 through a pre-purchase I got a long time ago, and I have an extra 10 through a deed. So you'll be able to get an extra 10 through a deed, and you'll be able to get an extra 5 if you're a subscriber, which is helpful, even though this game has a great free-to-play system as well. If you do it right, you're not going to have too much trouble with quests, okay? There's only a certain amount of quests you're really going to ever have. I mean, I doubt you really ever have more than like 30, unless you're someone who's not checking what quests you're doing. It's handy to have a couple extras here and there, because when you go to a new place, you might get like 10 or 12 all at once from a town, and then you go complete them and bring them back. And then sometimes you'll still have some extras that you like. There was one quest that sent you off to the middle of nowhere, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to just hold on to that for later. So it's nice to have a couple extra slots, but that's pretty much what that is. And then you can see right under that, it has daily tasks, 0 out of 5. That's the task board. You can technically hold them, but there's really no point, like I told you, to hold the tasks in your inventory, because if you're collecting the items, you just go to the task board and turn them in right away. But you can have up to 5 at once, okay? There's a thing right here. This button is called Increase Task Limit. Also, I believe that would also take you to increase the active quest limit if you wanted to get, I believe you can purchase through Mithril coins, which is technically like the in-game real money of this game. You could purchase 10 more regular quests, but I could also increase my daily task limit. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, that task limit is not just a holding limit. You can only turn in a couple a day. There's a limit to how many you can actually do. So I don't want to mix you guys up on that one. Okay, so I'll have an entire separate video on tasks, but that actually might mean you can only do 5 a day on that character. So not just holding them in your inventory. Where the one above is active quests, you could have as many up to your max in your inventory all the time. Okay, and you can increase that again if you wanted to with the LOTRO store. Moving on for the tasks, the quest tracker options. Show the tracker. What does that even mean? I know immediately you're like, what do you mean by that? Go ahead and click M on your keyboard real quick. You're going to see this little thing here, and you're going to see this. This is the quest tracker. Now, I have a whole video on how to get around and quest and do stuff like this, but I'm going to explain it real fast, quickly in this video, because it's kind of important tied with this subject. Down there in the bottom left, you see Show Quest Guide on Map. Boop, you can turn that off and on there. And then also, if you notice, if I turn this off, this show tracker is actually the thing right here that I was talking about. Remember I was talking about with on the side? So if you're someone who doesn't really care to have these words on the side when you're walking around in Middle-earth and you're kind of like, yeah, they kind of bother me, you can actually just like turn them off. If you remember where you're going, if it's just you just want to see the pretty world of Middle-earth, right? You could do that as well. So that's the tracker. Quest tracker right there. It's on the side here. If you notice, it actually is a I'm not going to show you this command, but it's actually an area of the screen that you can move around. I have a video on how you can move that around, but I don't want to get into that right now. And then again, the map is the quest guide on the map. The quest guide on the map is very handy. I'll run through this real quickly. If you hover these with your mouse, they will glow. See how it's glowing, the quest ring over there, right to the left. And if I hit this lower, it's also glowing up there. This quest has 2 different areas to go. So, and if you notice right here on the corner, when I hover the crew of this one, see how that one's glowing? See how it's like flashing, glowing? It kind of shows you which one. In fact, you can also change the colors right here. So I could change my colors to blue. You notice the rings turn to blue, right? And again, you can have up to 10 now, which is fantastic on both the quest guide on the map and the quest tracker on the side. All right, so that's how those work. They're not really super complicated, so let's keep moving on. The next thing is fellowship status. That's a little extra thing. I don't think you're really ever going to need this. This is view info by quest objective or fellowship status. This is something you can kind of switch between. You're pretty much just going to always have it on that. I don't think you're ever I've literally never touched this option ever. So you can, it's when you're in a fellowship, you can turn on the status of what's going on, but between other quests. It's, again, you can, I'm going to show you another way to do that in a second. That's a little bit more, makes more sense. So now that you know all about the top of the quest tracker, you're pretty much set. Of course, the X will close it up there. Also, you can just click escape on the keyboard and it'll close it. Those both work just fine. But now let's go ahead and talk about the last stuff here at the bottom. I already told you about the scaling up of the quest sizes, but now I'm going to pick us a quest that'll be good for this. Let's go ahead and pick, I'm going to close all the quests again, and I'm going to pick one here from Swan Fleet. Talk to this character, okay? I want to explain what all these things are inside the quest. So at the very top, now, so you can always left-click on the quest over here in this area. Left-click to open or shut the areas from where the quests are from, and left-click on them to see them, okay? Another nice little trick is that we're going to talk about this button first right here called Add to Tracker. Well, we already explained what that is. It's over here. So this one, collect these pages. I'm going to say Add to Tracker. You notice it appeared at the top of the tracker thing, okay? So that's handy, right? Also, if you notice there, see this little ring that just appeared now on the left here? On the quest, if you notice that little ring means it is on my quest tracker. Watch what happens when I remove it from the quest tracker. Same button. It goes away, right? And it went away. Okay, good. You got it? So again, you can go through and add each one, and the button will remove or add depending on which one you're left-clicked on. All right, it's that simple. And then the next thing is if you're in a fellowship and someone say, oh, I think I can do that quest, you'd say share, okay? And this is really, really helpful. I actually am going to bring in my alt because I want to show you guys something really cool about this real fast. So let me bring him in here, do a little teleport. Baruch Kazad. All right, so I brought us over to Bree real quick because I need to explain this. So here comes my alt right now. Okay, so this is my other account, but we're gonna have him join our group here real quick. All right, little trick here. Whoop, whoop. All right, there we go. So now that he's in our group, let's go ahead and open our quest tracker again. And as you can see, this is what I want to show you. So there are these little things, this little area that appears underneath the quest title. Okay, so again, we've explained what the ring means on the left side, right? So that means we've added it to tracker. By the way, you can also just left-click the ring. Okay, I didn't say that a second ago, but that's really important. I'm trying to remember all the shortcuts for this video. So you can click Add to Tracker, or you could just left-click the ring. All right. Also, just so you know, you could always go over and right-click on the actual thing over here, and on these little rings, and there's a little information thing that says show in quest log, which is what you do, left click on it, or you could say display objective, lock. So if you lock it, what happens that is you can't remove it off your quest tracker. Okay, that's kind of what that does. So I'm gonna unlock that though for now, and I just think that's kind of cool. And by the way, if you notice, remember that button I was talking about, which is cool if you want to use it. We're gonna pop back up to it, where it says show fellowship status. So if I show quest objective, it shows what I have to do. If I click fellowship status, it shows Zollin being this little hunter icon and an X. That means he does not have that quest and he's not on that quest. There are several different symbols, okay? Now that is the same, so I'm going to go back to quest objective, but that is the same thing underneath the quest name as over here, underneath the quest name, this little section area where my mouse is. Right now you can see here it says Zollin is on the same quest as you. So Zollin actually has this same quest. This one Zollin doesn't have. See how it's a gray ring and not a gold ring? So he doesn't have it. So sometimes you can share these quests, sometimes you can't. If I click on it and it says it's grayed out and I can't click share, the share button, then I can't share it with Zollin. He'd have to earn, he gets an item or something to get that. But let's find another quest, like the, let's see, this Breland quest, defeat this character, this monster, all right? See how it says share? Now I can click share with selected quests with all nearby eligible members of your fellowship. And as you can see again here, he's got a gray ring, which means he doesn't have it. So I'm going to click share, so I know he can have it. And now if I go over to the other screen, it's going to say Zollin would like to share a quest with you. And I'm going to say, okay. This is what you do if someone shares it to you, okay? And then it comes up like this, just like you would have talked to that NPC, that non-player character, right? So I'm offering to share the quest, and then I can click accept. And now it shows up there, and it says I have a new quest, Stalker of the Location. If I go back to our main character here, Zollin, and you go to the top, you can see he now has, I can now hover it, and it says Zollin is on the same quest as you. And then it says the quest name when you hover the ring, okay? Good, good, good. Now, I'm going to open up all my quests for a second, and I want to explain a couple other symbols. If you go through here, you can see all the quests that Zollin has, like Zollin, the same exact ones, and remember, it's the exact named quest, okay? They're not similar. If they have the ring, the gold ring, it means the same, all right? The red X means Zollin is not eligible for the quest, meaning he probably doesn't, he's either too low level, or maybe he has to do another quest before. Remember I talked about quest chains at the very beginning of this video? Okay? That's why I explained those things ahead, because I want you to kind of be able to follow along. You can also go over here. You can see what are repeatable quests in the green. You can see that this one is a raid quest with the raid symbol here. And again, remember, the filter's up there. All right? You can see this one is an epic quest. So on the left side, underneath the name, where it's not this little circle area, that is information for yourself about the quest. On the right side, where this little tiny circle, like oval weird thing is, that is for your fellowship members. So if I had 6 fellowship members, there might be different symbols, but there'd be 6 of them in this, according to whoever has done Dark Talisman, this quest, okay? That's really important to realize. That's going to be all your different... And remember, you can just hover each one, and it'll say who they are. Like, again, it says Zollin, my alt. Of course, there's only 2 of us here, but if there's 5 in that little area, you're going to want to know who has it and doesn't have the quest if you're trying to, like, organize it for your group you're playing with. Again, the X means not eligible. There's another one where it is a ring with a little check mark, which means they've already completed it and they're ready to go. Like, for example, here's a check mark, says Zollin has completed this quest chain. That means Zollin is actually behind. Zollin has already finished it. So, and you see, remember, see how it says has completed the quest chain? This is quest number 3. So apparently, there might be a quest 4 and 5, but it's letting me know that Zollin is on quest chain 3, and that Zollin has completed this quest chain. Super important. And then again, I was trying to find one with a ring and a check mark, but again, we might not have them between these 2 characters. There's also one called a gold ring with a little tiny check mark. So not the big solid green check mark, but it's a little tiny one next to a ring. And that means they're ready to turn the quest in. And again, I do not think any of my ones match up with this character to show you that, but just remember that that's another one as well. So there, now we're really getting close to being done here, guys. All right, so now at that point, we can also cancel quests, all right? So if you have a quest you don't really want to do, all right? So I want to make sure I cancel one, show you how to do it. Basically, what you're going to do is whenever you don't want a certain quest, right? I don't want to get rid of this one. It says talk to Legolas. But if I click cancel, or it's abandoned, if I click it, it's going to ask me, do you want to abandon this quest? The Gift of the Green Leaves. I could say yes, it would disappear. Would it go away forever? No. Okay? So don't freak out if you misclick or you get rid of one because you want to make more active quest room. Remember, we explained there's only a certain amount of quests you can have in your log at once. You could always go back and pick up the quest from a NPC that gave it to you originally. So, for example, if you get rid of one and you're like, oh no, I didn't mean to get rid of it, there's usually a 5-minute cooldown. So if you go back to that NPC right after you abandoned it, it'll have a little like feather thing or something through the ring. I forget what it is. Not a feather. Something's through it. You'll see. It'll click it. It'll have a little countdown timer on the NPC. All right. Take that little accept thing. Remember I was explaining that to you guys before, right? Again, it looks like this, right? It will have a little when you click on the NPC to accept a quest. Oh look, there's a guy who has a quest right here. This is perfect. I click on him. I'm going to accept this quest, right? And then I'm going to cancel this quest immediately and cancel it, like I showed you. There it is. Oh, it's an hourglass. That's what it is. I was trying to remember what it was. The feather is a different type of thing, but that'll be for another video. I don't want to confuse you. But if I right-click on it, now see how when I go back to accept it, oh, look at that. 4 minutes and 47 seconds left, right? Okay, until I can accept that again on this character. It's that, that's pretty much all that you have to do. There's also a button called Show History. So again, remember that one quest where I was head on or whatever. If I click, let's say this one, and say Show the History of the quest, a little thing pops up and it'll explain it was bestowed, the dialogue, well met adventurer, the objective and all that stuff. And I can go through and do that with all the different ones. And I don't believe you have to actually switch. Yeah, this will just stay up and you could just hop between quests left clicking here and it'll show you the history of all these different quests, okay? And you can see like chapter 5 here. I had one objective completed. This one, I had like 1, 2, 3 objectives already completed. So I've already done a bunch on that. And it'll help you explain the history just a little bit, just to kind of help you understand things and keep up with it and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. A cool little extra button there. Again, inside here, I don't think I really find a fellowship. So if I click this, find a fellowship for the selected quest, there's actually a whole thing and the following, but this is the social media tab. We're going to have a separate video because you guys are going to get like... So just remember that's a quick path to get to the social media tab following, which is a way you can like find groups and stuff. I already have a video on that, but I might make a more basic video like this one for that subject as well. So now that you kind of know all that, the inside here on the left, now I'm trying to remember, I don't think I've missed anything now. We've covered everything on this. Again, you have the little scroll down bar here on this side as well as the one in the middle here to go up between the quests. Realize that they are separated. This is all your quests all lined up. This is whatever quest you're clicked on, right? Everything in this right little box. And again, remember you have the name of the quest. Usually there's a picture here that corresponds with the filters. So again, it's a solo character guy standing there. If I wanted to do a different one like the raid, look, there's the raid symbol, the dragon or whatever it is right there. Okay, so you can kind of see the corresponding symbols depending on the filter right there. It also tells you kind of what it's from. This one's for the festival event right there. One really important thing that I cannot forget, this right here next to the name of the quest, so the name of the quest will always be right there. This little box and it says 10 right there, that is the level it's supposed to be done at. You can do it below the level a little bit and above the level a little bit usually. You can usually always do a quest way above level, but there are times that you want to be able to accept a quest if it's too high level. The NPC just won't give it to you. It won't be there. It'll be like a gray ring over their head. Okay? But that number is also on this side, right, in all of them. So you can kind of see this is for a quest for level 131. Well, I'm level 147, so it's gray. Okay? This is kind of important. So let me just explain this one to you real quick. There is a color scheme happening. I don't know if you've noticed. A lot of these are gray. Some of them are white. Some of them are light blue. Some of them are many other colors. Let me go over to Zollin real quick here. Show you some of his quests. Okay, you can notice he's got some white ones, some gray ones, some light blue. I don't have any really way up there, but there is a color scheme depending on the level of your character. So if the quest is gray, it's usually like, I think it's like at least 8, okay, the word is at least 8 levels below you or something like that. If it is a lightish blue, it's just a few levels below you. And you can see here, this one's level 144, so it's lightest blue. If it's white, it's right about on level, right, for you. So as you can see, if they don't have a level next to their name, don't get confused. They're a scaling quest, meaning they're whatever level you are, it doesn't matter, okay? But like for this one, it's level 147, and guess what? I'm 147, and the quest's name is White, okay? So then, what if you're asking, well, what if the quest is higher level than you? Oh, and I'm sorry, the green one is also lower. So I believe it's gray, then it is this darkish green, then it's the lightish blue, then it's white, then I believe it is a brightish yellow, orange, and then like a dark red, okay? And I believe there might be like this really dark, scary looking purple color. If it's really, really high level, it's usually like 9 levels higher than you. And I believe the jump gaps is somewhere between like 2 and 3 levels, because it's like gray, and then you notice the green was 2 levels above that, and then the light blue's a level, you know, what, 5 levels below me. And so it's kind of like boop, 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 right? So, and white usually I think is a level above and below too. It stays white, I believe. It might go down to blue. I don't remember. There's like a little weird, I don't remember the exact degree. I just know that I can link that from the wiki if you want to know the exact details. But as a player, it's not gonna matter that much. Just know that white quests are usually on your level, and that will correspond slightly with experience gain. So if you're doing a quest that is light blue, the experience it's going to give you is going to be a lot less than one that's white that's on level. If one that's higher level than you will get a slight increase, but it's not dramatic. So usually you want to do quests that are on level, or maybe one above, which is like that yellow color or orange color, usually. So you don't want to be doing ones that are dark red and purple. Those are, you can hold on to them for later, but they're too high level for you at that time, pretty much. Unless you have a high level helping you out or something, another player. So keep that in mind. That's what the number means. That's what the colors corresponding means. Yeah. So again, I know this is a lot of information. That's why I'm trying to take this kind of slow. So now to finish up on this side, okay? This is again what you have to kind of complete or do. Is going to always be kind of like the yellow area, right, with the little bullet points. Sometimes they're simpler than others. You know, talk to a random guy. And then it'll give you a little story of what they kind of said, the background of the quest, and then the rewards, right? Rewards is always nice. So, you know, it gave you the in-game currency, which is copper, silver, and gold. This quest gives me 45 silver, you can hover it, 95 copper. It gives me reputation with the Mountain Hold reputation, the Reclaimers of the Mountain Hold, which is somewhere the dwarves up in Gundabad. So again, respect is for another video. You don't need to know that right now. It gives you item respect. You can always hover them and see what they do. Another video, we'll talk about that. That's not important here. Seed experience, not important. It's for a different kind of experience. These are not important because they're different types of experience. They're not the XP you need to level up. The quests normally just give you. But they do also give you other types of experience, which can get confusing, so I'll have other videos on that. And this particular quest also gives me some silver coins that are a barter item, which usually go into your wallet. And to find that, you can go to Character and click Wallet here at the bottom. You can find them there for your money and stuff. Just a little side note. But yeah, that's it, my friends. The quest log. We've done it. So again, I do encourage you, keep your quest log organized. Kind of know what quest you're on. If you have a quest you don't really, if it's not an epic quest or something, it's really low level. Again, if it's like gray and it's really old, sometimes you'll have to complete a gray quest for, again, the quest chain, so you can move on to another quest. That is highly likely when it comes to epic quests, prologue quests, chapter quests, and when you, again, so you don't get confused, it's like the things, they're usually named right here. See, Epic Volume 1 Prologue, Epic Volume 2 right here. So look, if I pull this over to my finger, woo, see, you got these epic quests right here, from right there, those. So, but other, besides that, if it's just a quest like, go collect, you know, eggs in the Shire, if you don't want to do it anymore and you're 10 levels too high, go cancel the quest. Go get other quests. Keep moving along. I would keep it organized because it is a little frustrating if you get to the point where you know, don't have any room for quests anymore. And you're like, well, what do I get rid of? Again, use those tricks, use the plus and minus, go through what area you're questing in. Keep the epic quest, chapter quests. If you know it's later in the game, the Black Book of Mordor is technically a chapter quest, even though it's not called that. The Legacy of Doran is technically chapter quest, even though it's not called a chapter quest. But early on, for the first hundreds of hours of gameplay, just keep an eye on the volumes, chapters, and epics, okay? And that'll be, we'll talk about the deed log in the future in another video. But I think for now I'm going to leave it there, because if you got all the way to the end of this video and helped you, I appreciate it. That was a 45-minute video, so that was a lot of information, but hopefully I broke it down in a way that'll help the newest of players. And you guys have a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. Thanks to my Patreons for their support, and thank you guys. Appreciate the like and subscribe. Leave your comment, what helped you the most. If you have a question, if I missed something, please feel free to leave a comment. I will try to answer it for you. And subscribe button's right there. Next episode's over there. And over there I do voiceovers, where it's a little more of an entertainment playlist, where we do have a lot of fun on this channel. So, have a good one, my friends. Barukazad Kuzad, I menu. Stay happy. And I'll see you in the next episodes.